Hello, weekend. What we're drinking tonight is the Dark and Stormy. This is a very simple cocktail. If you're new to making cocktails or you're just overwhelmed by the number of choices and options you have when making a drink, this is super simple. It's literally just 2 ingredients, 3 if you want to count the ice. It's Gosling's Black Seal Rum and ginger beer. If you're making a Dark and Stormy, you have to use Gosling's Black Seal Rum, otherwise they can get angry with you because Gosling's owns the name Dark and Stormy, so that you must use the Gosling's Black Seal Rum and ginger beer to make a Dark and Stormy. If you use a different rum, you can call it anything else you want, but to call it a Dark and Stormy, you have to use the Gosling's Black Seal Rum. This is typically what would be known as a highball cocktail, where you're using just an alcohol, a liquor, and a carbonated beverage as a mixer. Technically, a screwdriver would be a highball because it's just vodka and orange juice, but primarily if you're using a liquor and a carbonated beverage, whether it's a soda or a seltzer, you're making a highball. 7 and 7s, gin and tonics, rum and cokes are all versions of a classic highball cocktail. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our ginger beer. And then we will top with our Gosling's Black Seal Rum. And you pour the ginger beer in first and then basically float the rum on top because you have this storm cloud looking vibe going on, which is how it got the name of Dark and Stormy. And if you want, you can garnish with a slice of lime. I'm using a dehydrated lime wheel to make it look kind of pretty, but that's the Dark and Stormy. Super simple, super delicious. And if you want the original version of a Dark and Stormy, you're actually going to use Barrett's ginger beer. You can use any ginger beer you want. Gosling's actually makes a ginger beer themselves, but the original version of the Dark and Stormy was the Gosling's Black Seal Rum and the Barrett's ginger beer. The companies had a falling out a number of years ago, so Gosling's went and made their own version of ginger beer. There are a number of great ginger beers you can use for a Dark and Stormy. But again, if you're making an actual Dark and Stormy, you must use this. This is great. You can swap this out all you want. If you're not using this, you have to call it something other than a Dark and Stormy. You can call it a Midnight Shipwreck. It's actually going to be a highball either way. And to get more geeky into it, if you're using a ginger beer, you're making something called a buck. And if you're using vodka and ginger beer, now you're making a Moscow Mule, which is a completely different cocktail for another time. But this is the Dark and Stormy. There she is. Until next weekend, have a good one.